Ter Stegen, the guy who has not only been defending the gates of Germany, the gates of Barcelona, right now also defending his receding hairline that has been going for quite some time. In today's video, we'll be discussing his hair transplantation he has done in 2022, but since we have not covered his final results yet, this is going to be the video where we will find out about what was good, what was bad, what was okay, and ultimately the things you should do if you are looking to have a hair transplant with fine hair as Ter Stegen. So make sure you stay tuned, and before we start, as always, quick shout out to our sponsor GoFiber. These are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice and try them out. See if you like them. Welcome to Let's Get Hair, everybody, where you get regular, up-to-date, science-based information on hair loss and hair transplants, as well as my personal experiences and experiences of my clients. Make sure you subscribe and like this video if you're enjoying the content. So Ter Stegen started losing his hair in his early to mid-20s. We can see him already 6 years ago, that was like 2018, with a pronounced recession in the hairline. It's looking something like Norwood 2 to Norwood 2.5, almost Norwood 3. It was only until Norwood 3 right here where we can notice him deciding to get a hair transplantation. I always recommend people to get on medication before you do a hair transplantation, like finasteride. This is something that I wish I had done before my hair transplant. I didn't do it. Then I kept receding further quicker, and then eventually before my second hair transplant I got on medication. I don't know if he's on medication or not. I hope he is. That will definitely make things easier for him in the future as far as making everything look homogeneous, blending it well together and so on. Now I don't know where he went for the hair restoration. However, there is one thing that I noticed with his hairline, that his hairline had naturally, even during the time it was receding, it had that sharper frontotemporal transition. That was natural. We can see here that with the hair restoration, what they decided to do is to go quite low on the forehead, so they lowered the hairline. That's the first step they did. Now, in my opinion, the lowering might not have been necessary. I would have probably went a bit higher with the hairline. They, however, did go a little bit higher, left and right, on the anterior parts, which is good. That's what I like. But one thing that is odd to me is the reconnection with the frontotemporal transition right here. You can see that they kind of rounded it down. Now, I'm not a fan of this rounding, especially in Ter Stegen's case, who naturally had this kind of sharper transition. As you can see in his profile from this video, it's looking much more sharper. Now, I'm not saying do exactly that with the hair restoration, but in my opinion, what they could have done is something like that. See, where it's looking a little bit like this, and if we zoom out, it's looking a little bit more natural instead of having this rounded thing. And to be honest, it just looks better from the profile as well. If you look at his profile, he has like a sharper looking nose, straight nose, kind of pointy nose, pointy chin. So here you can see that what he should have opted for as far as the frontotemporal transition itself should have been something like this. Very tiny difference, very, very tiny, but it makes a difference, in the grand scheme of things. Again, if you zoom out a little bit, it's just looking more natural, more appropriate. I would have chosen something like that if I had been in his situation. That's the only thing with the design that I think should have been done better. Now, as far as his, before situation, we already described that he was like a Norwood 3. The progression has been going more and more. I think that there might be even some diffuse thinning in the future on the mid-scalp and crown. I don't know his family hair loss, maybe he has definitely potential for more baldness to come. Now, one thing that I'm noticing with many people with fine hair, many clients that I've been consulting over the last 5 years, me included, a guy with fine hair, is that once the hair started to regrow, what I want to tell you guys that you should pay attention to, especially if you have fine hair and light hair, bright hair, is this. So this is the period where the hair starts growing in already. So especially in here, you can notice that it's kind of looking darker. It's not as see-through, and that's because he's using fibers. But not only that, it's a known fact that if you have a light hair and you do a hair transplantation, the hair will look darker, in the front, and it will take about a year or two until the hair assimilates. The hair may look a bit kinky, it may be a little bit more wiry and darker as well. That was my case. That is a case with many guys who have light hair, who have fine hair. I don't know why it happens. It probably happens as a shock of that hair being transferred or relocated from the back to the front. Now it grows in quite thick, and it really needs another hair cycle, goes through the full anagen phase, and then it will fall out and reset itself. And after that, it will look more normal or almost like your hair behind. So, and for me, it took 2 years to kind of synchronize. This is his hair in the first year after the hair restoration. You see how thick it looks. However, right now, you can see even that hair in the front. It looks like a little bit, little wires. I don't know if you can notice it, but I certainly can. But right now, if we go to his recent appearances with, his hair being like combed backwards, you can see how fine, how straight it looks like. And there might be even a little bit more see-through effect right now because the hair has gone through that first anagen phase. And right now, it produced a more accurate representation of his hair in the front. And this is going to be his hair for the future. You can see it also on this image, like this hair is much more finer. It's just natural hair that he would expect to have. But again, because of that first cycle, it's a bit different. And then many guys with fine hair can actually end up with that more robust, even more wiry or more wavy looking texture in that hair. I don't know how his donor looks like. I looked at some of his pictures from the back. He definitely did the FUE procedure. All looks quite good. I don't know how many grafts did he get because again, I haven't seen any descriptions, but it looks to me like around 2,700, potentially to 3,000, even not more than that for sure. Depends on the lighting. Right now we can even see through the hair a bit more as the hair kind of assimilates and matures. We can see that there is a little bit more see-through effect because once his hair assimilates, it becomes a little bit thinner compared to the initially within the 6 to 12 months after his procedure. Now, he didn't do temples, which I like. He didn't do this part, which is right there, because his temples were pretty preserved. Now, what can happen if you do temples too early without taking finasteride, without the proper planning or strategy? Well, you can look at Fabregas, another soccer player who have done hairline and temples, multiple hair transplants, and you can see that those temples over time, they just stop keeping up with the hair on the side. And namely, the problem is that behind the restored temple, you can see that very, light looking area. And that's not a coincidence because that's actually more hair loss behind the restored temple that started going further. And you can see it also here. So his temple is quite sharp and framed, but then you can see that recession in that front area completely. So that's how, temples can end up looking 10 years, 15 years later if you don't take care of your hair transplant. So stay out of temples, you will stay out of more trouble. If you just stick to the hairline restoration, you will be fine, especially if you are in your 20s, early 30s. The minor issue is that frontotemporal transition that he has done, the corner that I didn't like. Now, a similar thing we were able to see with David Beckham, where they also kind of restored his hairline and they kind of rounded it in this way, as you can see in this video, which is very, very obvious, especially if you plan on wearing short buzz cuts in the future. It's just gonna look odd, it's just gonna look a little bit off, a little bit more detectable. We can also see it here from the left side. I don't know why these guys are going to doctors who do this. I cannot blame them, but I cannot blame the doctors either because they probably wanted to make it look good when the hair is long. And if you round it, it's gonna look fine if the hair is longer. But once you start to do a buzz cut, you will see that there is something off. Now, of course, you can go to a barber. He's gonna shave it off and he's gonna kind of trim it, or you can start trimming it yourself, and that's completely fine. But then why transplant this hair there if it maybe could have been used better anywhere else on the scalp, and then save that hair from even placing it there and save yourself the trouble and the precious hairs that are just limited resources. So overall, I really like his result considering his fine hair, weakness. Even despite that, really, I think the see-through effect is quite minimal considering that he didn't even probably have a touch-up. Maybe he will get one later on, but a result of one surgery with fine hair can achieve this wow, you should be really setting your expectation here, like, wow, this is good. And that's why I make these videos, so guys don't have like false expectations. You can have gaps a little bit, and then you do a touch up, like things like these can happen. But overall, if you have fine hair and achieve something like that, you should be happy. I ranked Ter Stegen into like the top 10 results of soccer players, and you can check out this video in below. I think he's like top 4 for fine hair. I think he would be one of the best soccer players with the best result, in my opinion. So as you were able to see in his case, planning your hair transplant, thinking about it, looking at candidates with your hair type, skin to hair contrast, with the same kind of donor limitations as yourself. Maybe they don't have such a good donor like you. It's crucial to observe them, to see how they kind of end up looking, what mistakes they are doing, as we have seen with Fabregas, we have seen with Xherdan Shaqiri, another soccer player who did not end up with the most natural hairline, and Wayne Rooney as well. Despite getting 3 hair transplants, it still doesn't look that good. So what can you learn? Well, you should have a proper plan. You should have a strategy. And this is what we are discussing on this channel. And that's the reason why you should get on a call with me. If you check out the link in the video description below, you can learn how I can help you out one-on-one, because I've been doing this for the last 4 years. I consulted more than 2,000 clients. I've saved them stress, money, and time trying to get their hair back and help them choose the right hair transplant clinic for their hair type, expectations, and budget. And also answer some other hair loss related questions and also non-medical advice on hair treatments. So if you're interested in that, I will be more than happy to help you out in person. It will be my pleasure. And also thank you so much for watching this channel and subscribing, and maybe see you soon in person if you decide to work with me one-on-one. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.